This is the Orioles POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The East Coast, I should probably add myself to the stream. Just past midnight, the O's have fallen flat once again. They pull a no-show, losing to the Los Angeles Angels in the second of 3 games, 5-1 the final on this Tuesday night. Tuesday heading into Wednesday on the East Coast, the O's had a chance to extend their 3-game win streak into a season-high 4 games. They have had 6 3-game win streaks to this point. And immediately following that 3rd win, they are 0-6. It'd be one thing if the O's were winning 2 out of 3 games and taking series on the regular, even winning 3 out of 4, at which case they would have an unrealistic winning percentage in the high 600s or 750. That's not happening. And the onus falls on the Orioles offense, who, despite a depleted bench, could not get anything going against an unlikely breakout candidate for the Angels.
Uh-oh, somebody messed up, and it's time to let them know with who fudged up.
Amidst all the hype of the Orioles scorching the Angels last night and Kyle Bradish delivering a performance of a career, the O's struck out 12 times last night. And the Angels, just 10. Fast forward to tonight, that number now up to 13. And you can make excuses about last night's start. You had Sam Huff there in the 9 spot with 3 strikeouts. You had extenuating circumstances that is not how the team would normally perform at full strength. But tonight, you have guys who have proven themselves to be everyday players, or over the course of their career had a reputation of being an everyday player. And we got 13 strikeouts against right-hander Ryan Johnson. When I say the name Ryan Johnson, you may think of the man who ruined Star Wars, allegedly. No, we got a 23-year-old right-hander out of Dallas Baptist. Rookie, 3rd career start, entering tonight's game with a 12.83 ERA. ERA is not a damning statistic. You are not your earned run average for life. Of course, for small sample sizes and relievers, you can get tagged with a inflated ERA forever. But the O's have a terrible time picking up the cut fastball. And I mean, you talk about glove side break. The first few innings, it was almost on this parallel line across the zone. And I could understand why Gunnar Henderson was taking it right down the middle in the top of the first. Problem is, the O's do that 3 more times. 4 of these strikeouts are looking at pitches right down the middle of the zone or near the heart of the plate. Pete Alonso takes a strikeout or a called 3rd strike in the 9th inning against right-hander Sam Bachman. That was a 2-seamer that had some funky movement that clipped the upper third of the zone. I'm not giving him a pass because he's paid to do this, and it's a 13 strikeout game for the Orioles. My goodness. And to add insult to injury, the O's do not get a hit for the first 5 1/3 innings. That is to say, they recorded 16 outs with only 1 base runner, and that being yesterday's birthday boy, Tyler O'Neill. He was able to take a walk against Johnson. It's always the easy names, right? Took a walk against Johnson there in the top of the 3rd. Again, a 2-seamer that was busting him inside. But otherwise, this was pathetic. Jeremiah Jackson breaks up the no-no in the top of the 6th. First pitch cutter. Looked like he was anticipating that out of the hand the second time around. Plopped it in the center field for a single. Taylor Ward then rolling over on a splitter in an 0-2 count to ground out into a double play. That was pretty much it. Once the Angels go to the bullpen, manager Kurt Suzuki making the call there in the top of the 7th. Left-hander Sammy Natera, Mexican-born reliever who had yet to give up an earned run in the major leagues, immediately falls into trouble. Gunnar Henderson, a nice lefty on lefty single to left field, 2-strike count, takes a fastball the other way. Pete Alonso walks on a slider in the dirt. You got no outs, you got a runner in scoring position. The O's need to do something productive. Problem is they can't. Samuel Basallo grounds out to second base, a fielder's choice that goes 4-6, able to beat out the relay for avoiding a double play. Got runners at the corners. Suzuki brings in the right-hander flamethrower Chase Silseth against Kobe Mayo. No surprise there, able to get him to chase a fastball way high and way outside. Anything that is not on the inner third is likely to get a whiff from Kobe Mayo. Jim Palmer on NASN tonight, just flat out saying, oh, he's a platoon player. Wow. I know Connor on the main show has a loss of confidence in Kobe. And after 165 games, sure. Leody Taveras with 2 outs and a runner hanging at third base falls behind the count 1-2, and still Seth hangs him a splitter. He belts it up the middle. RBI single makes it 5-1. Leody hitting .340 with runners in scoring position this year. He does that. My goodness, this is pitiful. Don't have a ton to say about Shane Baz. We will get to him in block number 2. I think the Angels stacking right-handers against Baz was an interesting choice, and it paid off. Most of the damage early on coming from the left-handed batter, Nolan Schanuel. We'll get into that. And we'll look ahead to tomorrow's rubber game. We're going to go into the comments, too. These have been pretty good tonight. This is the Orioles postcast. Please stick with us through these messages. Show brought to you by the fine folks over at Cash App. It's amazing how quickly we've moved away from cash and checks, a lot of card only or mobile payment only places. If you're paying friends back, if you are tipping, if you've got a vendor out in a public place in a big city, obviously Charm City, people love their Cash App. Cash App can do way more than you think to make your money work for you. If you direct deposit at least $300 in paychecks each month and use the Cash App card for purchases, you can earn interest on your savings. No hidden fees, no minimum balance requirements. Also, you can hit your savings goal even faster by turning on roundups on your Cash App card. With roundups, every purchase you make using the card is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and that spare change is automatically put into your savings. Don't let your money sit around and gather dust. Make it work for you. Take advantage of interest savings on Cash App today. New Cash App customers can earn $10 if they use code CashApp10 in their profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend within 14 days. Terms apply. Thank you to Cash App for sponsoring this show. One more for the fine folks over at Indeed Sponsored Jobs. I got my 9 to 5 off Indeed. When people are looking for skills, experience, and location, maybe they want a personality hire, just like me. Maybe they said this guy's attitude can be quantified by Indeed. Finding the right person can make all the difference. I make a difference. You make a difference in your everyday life, whatever you do. And you know who quantifies that? Indeed. One great addition can have a ripple effect on a company, on a team, on a unit. Synergy, dynamism. It's Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, and more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, it's a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on Locked On Orioles. Oh, Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. The secret to performance, the secret to Ryan Johnson. He was ready. He was Rougiette ready. Rougiette's been around for a long time. We talked about the NHL Stanley Cup Final, the Carolina Hurricanes, sticking it to the Vegas Golden Knights. Carter Hart, you lost. Rougiette has a couple options. Rougiette Ready is fast-acting, clinically formulated treatment that comes in a simple mint, goes under your tongue, designed for convenience, with fast absorption and effects that begin excuse me, they can begin in about 15 minutes and may last up to 36 hours. They also offer Go Long, which is formulated to support both performance and control for longer lasting needs. It's all about helping guys feel prepared, confident, and in control. In the playoffs, readiness isn't optional. The O's need Rougiette if they want to go long. Got to get to 500 first. My goodness. The reality is most people don't want complicated routines. They want something that fits into real life and works without overthinking it. That's how Rougiette can make all the difference. Head to Rougiette.com/LockedOnNHL and get 15% off your ED treatment. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL for 15% off. Rougiette, performance medicine for men. Thanks to Rougiette for sponsoring the show. Let's get back to it, folks. Let's do it. Benjamin Hart's commenting, and a loyal viewer at this, saying it wouldn't have mattered about Shane Baz's performance. The O's only score one run. PJ is the way, saying that this was a pathetic showing by the Baltimore Orioles. So much so that I broke out the pajamas. Listen, we got one life to live. Our time on this sphere is limited. We are rotating the sun. We have better things to do than deal with this nonsense. Nonsense. So, a couple of things, and the Masson broadcast made a good point sticking this out. Kurt Suzuki, manager for the Los Angeles Angels, stacks the lineup with 8 right-handed hitters against right-hander Shane Baz. Conventionally, you would think the splits don't favor that. Righties hitting 229 against Baz this season, lefties 279. However, batting average is not an end-all be-all when it comes to offensive performance. It doesn't tell the whole story about plate approach and luck. And for pitcher splits, it often doesn't account for their arsenal and how they use it against different handed batters. For example, Baz throws his cutter 33% of the time against right-handed hitters, according to Baseball Savant. 8% of the time against lefties, something that's breaking the glove side. He is not into the whole front door game, as it were. And perhaps, and this is just an hypothesis, that the Angels thought they would have a better chance if they had batters who were seeing pitches away and out over the plate. Even though the four-seam fastball was the primary pitch of choice tonight for Shane Baz, and he did not have great command of it, you got guys like Wade Meckler and Donovan Walton starting off on the bench. Think of Kyle Bradish last night challenging the likes of Jorge Soler with two-seamers inside and that sinker dotting it perfectly, whether it was inside or outside. The thing about Shane Baz is he's got an ERA of 6 in the first inning, heading into tonight, now up to 6.75 per Andy Costco. 3.65 in other innings. And the expanding brain solution here is kind of like what Chris Bassett had to deal with early in the season, perhaps an opener, or perhaps even leading with Albert Suarez, who went 3 scoreless and hitless innings tonight, and then have someone piggyback off of him might be the ideal way to navigate these early struggles. Problem is, you're paying Shane Baz a lot of money the next 5 years to be an anchor in the rotation. And one of these days, this Edwin Jackson type performance with a flat fastball and little command and these emotional mood swings and just flat performances is going to have to stop. Can't afford it. It started out pretty poorly. Misses with a cutter with 2 strikes, gets hit up the middle by Zach Neto to start the game. 1 out later, he falls behind in the count 3-1 against Nolan Schanuel. The cutter middle in is blasted to right center field for Schanuel's 6th home run of the season, made it 2-0. And prior to that, an indication rather of poor performance. He was missing high and away with a lot of these pitches. Looked pretty rough. But yeah, I mean, that cutter is in the sweet spot for someone like Schanuel, who does not exactly hit for a bunch of power. 28 pitches to get through the first inning and 16 strikes. The second inning also, he's up to 49 pitches, just really working into some trouble. Couple of a couple of overturned calls and some non-called third strikes as well came back to bite him, particularly in the fifth. Bottom five is really where this game is lost, where it just had the O's down 5-0 after the fifth. Jose Siri grounds out to Gunnar Henderson, curveball. Gunnar playing back on this ball, trying to exchange it as quickly as he can. He's called out. Siri is at first base. Umpire James Hoy having a terrible game, not a great series. Um, but the pitch prior was a check swing where he didn't hold up. The call's overturned. He's safe at first base. Neto then hits a double off the left field wall. The first pitch fastball was well out over the plate. This straight, flat 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Infield then pulled in a 2-0 game. Vaughn Grissom, first pitch knuckle curve, able to belt it to left field, 2-run score. And this throw from Taylor Ward back into the infield, again, it is a pool noodle. It is a spaghetti. It's one of those, what do you call the thing that waves outside of the gas station? Or excuse me, the car dealership, those big inflatable things. That is Taylor Ward's arm. I regret to inform you. Another missed called third strike against Seanwell, forcing fastball on the outer third. DJ Rayburn not having a great night behind the plate. But this is not an umpire influenced loss. This is not Nick Lentz in Toronto inventing the base path. A knuckle curve hit thigh high to right field. Grissom moves to third, and Jorge Soler, getting a four-seam fastball on the heart of the plate, hits a sacrifice fly to Colton Cowser in center field, and that would be that. Ugh. The O's carry on. Tomorrow, a rubber game with right-hander Trey Gibson on the mound, the rookie, 24 years old. 20 strikeouts in 26 innings pitched. A tale of two halves, so to speak, in his start against the Dodgers. First two innings looked completely lost, and then three strong innings to finish. Still pitching to a 171 walks and hits per innings pitched. That's a 407 first pitch on Mass, and we may be a few minutes behind on the post-game show. Right-hander Jose Soriano may be the Angels' best bet at the All-Star game this season. He is pitching to a 3.03 ERA, and he is 8-4. That's rough. Vito Land 92 bringing us home, saying, I can't watch Shane Baz pitch. Any sign of adversity, and he totally capitulates. We saw that in the Ernie Clement Toronto game. That was one where if you're living and dying pitch to pitch, it's one thing if you're a fan. You're 27 years old. And again, like, I've seen Major League Baseball clubhouses. I mean, these people can get obnoxious. They can get highly emotional and uncontrolled, but it's a matter of putting it together. What else do we have here? Well, Royal Cheetah Boyd saying that Ryan Johnson could have been mistaken for Randy Johnson. I mean, that's the thing. There's a reason why Ryan Johnson was a second rounder out of Dallas Baptist. The Angels saw something to him. And what the Angels do is they don't even develop their prospects. They just speed run them to the major leagues. They've done that on multiple occasions. Even the Siltseth guy who pitched tonight didn't have hardly any minor league experience. And man, RIP to the floppy hat. Ugh. Benjamin Hart's saying Jim Palmer didn't understand why the O's didn't take batting practice tonight. You probably should when you're on the road, yeah. That'll do it. Appreciate you all tuning in here. We got to wrap this thing up. Final scores: the O's fall to 5 games under 500. The Los Angeles Angels 5 and the O's 1. Good night. Stay safe. I will see you right back here tomorrow night.